There is also the question of Senator Clinton's husband and whether the former president's newly accepted primetime speaking slot we're talking about at the convention on Wednesday will be enough to allay any apparent hard feelings there. And if it is, what might he then do during the campaign? Time magazine also reported that former President Clinton had been taking his wife's loss personally and was resentful, they reported, of suggestions that he had attempted to play the race card during the primaries. On a recent trip to Africa, ABC News asked the president if Senator Obama is qualified to be president.
You could argue that no one's ever ready to be president. I mean, I certainly learned a lot about the job in the first year. You could argue that now, even if you've been vice president for 8 years, that no one can ever be fully ready for the pressures of the office, and that everyone learns something and something different. You could argue that. He's shown a keen strategic sense in his ability to run an effective campaign. He's clearly can inspire and motivate people and energize them, which is a very important part of being president. And he's smart as a whip, so there's nothing he can't learn.
This morning, Senator Obama of the opinion that President Clinton had been provoked in that interview, and always to him nothing but supportive and gracious.
I spoke to President Clinton this week. He's been very supportive. I thought he showed extraordinary restraint in a fairly provocative interview while he was on his trip. I couldn't ask for him to be any more gracious than he's been.
And that graciousness, again, apparently returned tonight with the invitation to the president, former president, to speak at the convention on Wednesday. Let's turn now to Democratic strategist Chris Kofinas, former communications director in the campaign of John Edwards. Chris, good evening to you.
Good evening, Keith.
This overture to the former president by Senator Obama tonight, whether the bill problem was a 1 or a 100 on that scale, did it just end?
You know, I think so. You know, my mother used to say, in a family fight, doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong, just make it right. I think this helps make it right. It's a smart move by the Obama campaign. You know, I think the Obama campaign, Senator Obama, Senator Clinton, President Clinton, everyone I think has a shared understanding and a shared commitment to unity come November. And this is a very smart move to help make sure that comes along. I mean, you're talking about one of the best speakers, one of the best speech givers in the party. I think it's a very smart thing they've done.
We're not sure of the timeline of events. Obama, as we heard in that clip there, said he'd spoken to the president this week. Perhaps that's when this invitation was proffered, and maybe the yes was yesterday. We don't know the timeline, but it all came out all of a sudden about an hour ago. Does the rapidity of the president's "you betcha," whether it was an hour or a day or 2 days, indicate that maybe his emotions have settled down? Because obviously, whatever he wants to phrase it as, he was fired up before and not positively towards Senator Obama.
Well, politics is dominated by passionate people, and President Clinton definitely is a passionate, leader in the Democratic Party. I mean, I think what Democrats didn't want is this story to kind of start exploding. You started seeing a little bit today in the media coverage he was getting. It was a distraction. No one wants it. No one from the Clinton side, and definitely no one from the Obama side. I think, President Clinton came out very quickly, agreed to speak at the convention, because at the end of the day, I think he understands the role and power he has in this party, and he has an incredible opportunity here, not only just to unify the party at the convention, but to give an incredible speech that I think people are going to remember.
And about speaking at the convention, when he's on, nobody obviously does politics, or as you suggested, speaking better than Bill Clinton does. What does he need to say in Denver, especially considering he will speak before the vice presidential choice, who all reporting suggests will not be his wife?
Well, the brilliance of this, I'll tell you, is not only do you now have a media spotlight that was going to be shining pretty strong on this convention, I mean, there's going to be a lot of media attention on this speech, and rightfully so. I mean, I think what the message here is going to be very clear. He's going to make a very strong push and strong talk about unity, about moving forward, about coming together, and to basically say to the country, Senator Obama is the leader this country needs right now to take this country and lead it to a better place. And at the end of the day, we must come together to defeat John McCain, because we can't have 4 more years or 8 more years of a Bush-type presidency. I think that coming from President Clinton is going to be a very powerful moment, and it's going to segue pretty significantly to the vice president's speech.
And the $64,000 question thereafter. There had been talk of using President Clinton to campaign for Obama in places particularly like Appalachia. Is that, after these dramatic developments, the invitation tonight, more likely to happen than it was this morning?
I think so, and my advice to the Obama campaign is to use him. I mean, President Clinton is a powerful voice. We saw that, I think, during the campaign. He has a powerful ability to connect in these rural areas, and I think it's something the Obama campaign should use. Use the Senator Clinton, use President Clinton. They are powerful assets, powerful voices in the Democratic Party, and they're going to help you win in November. No question about it.
Chris Kofinas, the former communications director for the Edwards campaign. As always, great thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Keith.